AB, is it possible that these stories, these issues with these women from the past are a bigger issue for President Trump than the issue we so frequently focus on, which is that Russia investigation?
Well, I think Olivia is right that his supporters really don't care about this. I think when he said all these women accusing me during the campaign, they're all liars and they're all going to be sued as soon as the election's over, I think all the evangelical voters said, you know, they're all lying and they're cooking this up. Now they give him a mulligan and it's fine, whatever. I think, you know, we can look at how effective lie detectors are, but unfortunately, and I mean this, unfortunately, 95% of people believe that where there's smoke, there's fire, and he might have had an affair with one of these people, or been appropriate with one of these people.
A lot of people view this as a PR campaign right now.
And that is why, and so I don't think it goes anywhere as sort of a tawdry issue. What I think is obviously an issue is if it's a campaign finance violation, if it's an in-kind contribution to shut her up at a time when she could have, even though they've been battling for years legally, actually really harmed his campaign for the election, then I think that's going to end up being a problem for him. And it's interesting, I would just add that he always rips everybody, including all those women who accused him before the election. But he's been completely silent on Stormy Daniels. And the announcement of that legal action on Friday seemed so out of sort of step with the rest of this. That's the part that's completely puzzling to me, that he would allow himself to sort of be dragged into it.
Jeremy, I want to ask you about something AB just brought up that we didn't focus on yet in this conversation. It's the evangelical community and the way they view President Trump right now. It's hard to believe that evangelicals stand behind this then candidate, now president, so fiercely. Obviously, he gave him a Supreme Court justice. He's done a lot in terms of religious liberty for. So I understand why that's the case. But talk about that conflict among the evangelical community, or is there one, as they stand lockstep behind this president, despite these allegations that, as AB says, it appears where there's smoke, there's some fire.
I think the one thing that could change this dynamic is if over the summer there is a Supreme Court vacancy. And once that happens, it is like a reset button. Any evangelical Christians, social conservatives, Republicans in general, who were getting a little queasy about the president's personal behavior. I think so privately, yes. I think if you talk to the leaders, well, saying so publicly and saying so and feeling another way privately are two different things here. And I think if you talk to the movement leaders, the leaders of churches and social conservative groups, they are publicly very resolute. No, we're standing by him. A layer down from that, kind of at the rank and file, there's a little bit of embarrassment over this. A little bit, I say. I don't know that it's game-changing, but like I said, if a Supreme Court vacancy opens up, all bets are
Michael, go ahead.
As I've said before, for the last 35 years, you condemned everybody else in this country for how they live their lives very publicly and in a very embarrassing way. And here you have a man in the White House with all of this ish coming out about him and his behavior, and you're giving him a mulligan. So, as I've said before, and I'll repeat here again, we don't want to hear it. If you have this, you know, this public stance that we are with the president and he gets to do a mulligan, don't get me in a corner privately and say, you know, we're really concerned about his behavior. This is so upsetting. That is just a